Why do you think Trump is a horrible person who should be removed from the ballot in 2024? So let's get into it. When you saw Trump pay $25 million on a settlement for running a fraudulent university, you thought, no big deal. When you found out that Trump's normal business practices is to screw over his workers and creditors, who cares? When you heard him say that he could grab women and assault them because he's famous, you thought, it's just locker room talk. There's a whole list. Oh, and that time that Trump lied about seeing thousands of Muslims celebrate after 9/11. And when Trump said that he could do this to someone in public and not be prosecuted, everybody said, yeah, that's probably true. I mean, me personally, I like presidents and public servants who don't make fun of disabled people. And me personally, I teach my kids that reading is very important. So for someone to say they don't have the time and being the president, yeah, that's not a good example. And after the Central Park Five were let out of prison, he doubled down on his comments and said that they should still be there. I like presidents who don't tell their supporters to go beat people up and then claim that they'll pay their legal fees. Or people who call for folks who don't agree with them to have their coats taken. How Christian. You know, when watching somebody running for president unable to condemn Nazis, yeah. I also think we need a president who's able to have a conversation with, world leaders without insulting them and saying bad things about their country and basically pissing off everybody that lives there. Watching him remove all expertise and federal protections from multiple layers of government just goes to show how ill-prepared he was and how corrupt. And then there's this, where President Trump was overcharging us, the taxpayers, with Secret Service and all sorts of stuff when they're staying at his properties, on top of never divesting from any of his businesses while he was president. And people just didn't care. I also like a president who doesn't think that a water between two land masses can prevent aid. I personally tend to vote for people who don't side with authoritarian rulers and dictators, but that's just me. I won't forget the 5,400 children that Trump split at the border, but, I guess other people do. Like, seriously, I don't think you understand how much Trump robbed from the American people while he was president. Like, it's insane. I also tend to vote for people who don't rob people on their deathbed of donations by tricking them and automatically checking a box that says recurring donation. And one of the reasons I always said that Donald Trump should never be let anywhere near the White House is because he was never a good businessman. And it's evident by the national debt he built while in office. Yeah, no, we don't need more of that. I mean, in 4 years, Trump had 3 of the worst years ever. $7.8 trillion he added to our national debt. I also like people who don't spend almost a year out of their presidency golfing. I like politicians who follow through when they say things like they will provide the best healthcare Americans have ever seen, while instead 2.3 million people losing healthcare. Then there's that time that Trump said, it's only 15 people and soon it'll be down to 0 after losing like 400,000 people his last day in office. We want more of that? Let's not forget about January 6th when Trump supported this. Again, I like politicians who follow through on saying things like they would financially support the January 6th defendants and who don't want to pardon domestic terrorists. I mean, how are you going to vote for somebody whose own AG came out and said that his claims were BS? I mean, even his own party came out and said that that's what he was doing. Shout out to Rusty Bowers for doing the right thing at the right time, by the way. And while I know Biden had a few documents that were found and turned in, I think we can all agree, or at least most of us can agree, that 70 plus boxes of classified and secret material is a little different. Like, seriously, I don't know how anybody could vote for this guy after knowing the kind of information he took. There's also a Russian binder missing. They don't know where it is. And it came up missing around Trump's last day in office. Right around the same time that the Saudis gave $2 billion to Jared Kushner. Just saying. And I hope you remember that time that Donald Trump told Richard Donahue to just say that the election was corrupt and leave the rest up to us and Republican congressmen. For all you January 6th supporters out there, let's not forget that time that Donald Trump said, I don't care if they have weapons, they're not here to hurt me, let my supporters in. That sounds like he knew exactly what the fuck was about to happen. And dude reportedly reached in the front and grabbed the steering wheel trying to tell the Secret Service that he wanted to go to the insurrection. And Secret Service said, no. You know what they didn't find in Joe Biden's garage or in his office in DC or anywhere else? foreign nations' nuclear capabilities. And then, all the people out there talk about snowflakes and liberals and this, that, and the other. I don't see Joe Biden or Democrats throwing dishes of spaghetti and ketchup all over the walls. Those Adderall fits can be nasty. I mean, how many times does Trump have to side with Russia and Putin for us to get the hint? Again, I tend to vote for people that don't participate in jury tampering, trying to cover up for their insurrection. Again, maybe just me. I don't like people who think there's room for white nationals anywhere in society. There's not very fine people on both sides. And is it really any surprise that we have the issues we do in the police force when you have the President of the United States telling them to go ahead and rough people up? Don't worry about it. I mean, he did tell them to fight like hell, and they did. I'll never forget all Trump supporters yelling about lock Hillary Clinton up after she was the one that would actually sit and testify for 11 hours in front of Congress, under oath. And I'll never forgive the FBI for reopening that investigation days before the election, only to come out like 2 days before the election, say, oh, it was nothing, don't worry about it. The damage had already been done. And it was covering up for all the shit that Trump was doing with Russia. How can you vote for that? The pardons, too. You need to go look at the pardons. They're on my Twitter page. If you look at who he pardoned, it's very evident the kind of people that are behind him. I tend to vote for the guy that can walk across the street to a church without, having protesters and shit gassed. As a veteran, this one always upset me because I'm never going to vote for somebody who called the Americans who died in wars losers and suckers. Like, are you Mr. Bone Spurs, Mr. 5 deferments? Are you kidding me? And I could be wrong, but I have a feeling we're not going to hear Joe Biden tell Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. And how many Proud Boys have gone to prison since January 6th? Yeah, I rest my case. Trump endorsed executing Antifa. And me, I think we should go back to the old ways of how the founding fathers dealt with traitors. And finally, that time in 1991 where Donald Trump's dad sent a lawyer into his casino to buy $3.5 million in chips and just walk out with them and never cash them back in so that his son could pay a loan that was coming up. Yeah, and he just got away with a little slap on the wrist of $30,000. Imagine if Donald Trump had never gotten away with all that crap over decades. We may not be dealing with this crap right now. At the end of the day,